Hello. Good morning, students. Good morning. Yeah. So it's a proud occasion for School of Media and Communication because we are organizing a photography exhibition come seminar, and this was proposed to be held on 19th, the World Photography Day. But because of unforeseen situations, we could not hold it on that day, and we had to reschedule it to today. So let's begin the proceedings. I would now request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dr. Dipendra Kumar Jha, to please come up on stage. Mr. Shobboshachi Nath, who is the Director of Photographic Club of India. Dr. Professor Mahul Brahmo, who is the Dean of SOMC. So please come on stage. We have already inaugurated the exhibition, so we'll go straight away into the inaugural session. We had received around 570 odd photographs from not only India, but 4 other countries: Italy, Indonesia, Bangladesh, and Portugal. So, and 2 of the photographs have been awarded also. Unfortunately, being foreign nationals, they are not being able to come here and physically take their awards. We'll positively award them through different means. We will send them photographs and also courier their awards. I must thank Photographic Club of India and Shobboshachi, who's been a friend of mine since a long time, because they have really been a wonderful partner. I must also express my thanks to Sony. Mr. Saroj Kumar Dora was supposed to come and be present in the inaugural function, but unfortunately he's stuck up somewhere very near. I'm sure by the end of this function he will be here. Photography is something that is an integral part of SOMC for every student to learn photography, because the first lesson to learn photography is to learn about light. And that is exactly everything that defines photography, videography, and cinematography. So everything that you would learn as a passion or a profession begins with the learning of light. So without much ado, I would now request Dr. Professor Dipendra Kumar Jha, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, to please welcome the guest. Sir.
Thank you, Dr. Chatterjee. Guests on stage, Mr. Sabyasachi Nath, Director, Photography Club of India. In absentia, Mr. Saroj Kumar Dora, Technical Marketing in charge, East and Northeast, Sony India. My colleagues, few of them are here, faculty members and dear students. I had actually, it was long awaited to me also personally. This event, everyday event, keep on happening here, and you would wonder that why it is long awaited for me. I'm particularly, very used to be passionate about photography. There was a time when I was in Japan, more than a year. I have actually all lenses, actually, not only kit lens, but whole set of lens, my DSLR. And I used to be on a street sometime, to learn this low light or say night photography. I remember in Hiroshima, several nights I used to be on the streets till midnight, and even like 12 until 1 even, when I used to get back home. Something very close to my heart. I used to write, some poetries, and I had a book published where in Japan, where my own some photographs, though I cannot show you when I saw things in exhibition here. I was not as good as probably some of these, but then it's very close to my heart. I always was fascinated by, something that you wanted to say, probably your sort of words, the vocabulary, sometimes it doesn't come. And when you uh, take off this podium, then suddenly something comes that, oh, I could have said this probably. The same thing happens in photography as well. My own personal this thing. I was talking to some of my colleagues here. I said I used to also take like almost like 300 to 400 photographs, clicks a day, and then sometime without liking a single one. So that's how the sense of affection it gets instilled in you. Now I was asked that what did you learn from that? I mean there's those days or years that you asked me a very good question actually, and I didn't take even 1 second ask him to respond. I said attention to details. This is what I have learned. So it's not only about photography. I mean this is like we are expressing something which probably it's a medium of expression. Today I'm expressing my whatever feeling I have about photography, or I'm welcoming you, the guest, everyone, happy. This is all expression. That's also one medium. I mean, you are expressing yourself. And of course, it gets better with time. It gets better with practice. So no matter, I don't know whether you are passionate or you are interested at least in photography, whatever you are interested in, I'm sure you all are media, mostly media student and some enthusiast, photography enthusiast. Whatever you are interested or passionate about, do with conviction, passion, give your 100%, maybe more than that. More than 100% is not a technically correct word probably. You can't be like more than 100%. But when you talk in literary terms, more than 100% means like whatever you could do normally, you go beyond those boundaries. And that's what, it's not only about photography, but definitely, I mean, you will love it, when you see something that you have clicked. And then of course, light, the way you process them, I mean, that also is an art. So actually, I mean, these days, obviously, you were talking about, that your days and probably, a few more years, I think things have changed. You want quick fixes, you don't have time now. This generation particularly I see, they want everything. So as I said, 400 clicks a day and without liking a single one, probably you don't have that much time. But then you can achieve that. You don't need to have 400 clicks. I mean, that's just one example I said. You can always have even 1 or 2 clicks, and then you can get the best of them. I think that's possible, but then you need to go to that level. Practice only will make you perfect. So even if you want it quick, but in order to be quick enough, you need to work harder, and that's what the key is. So on this day, I mean, as I said, I am a learner. We all are learner in that sense, but so am I, and I actually mean it. That I learned photography, and for last many years I have actually not done it. And now when I saw these, and probably many of you, I think I'm actually feeling a happiness from within, that maybe I will. It's very easy in day-to-day life when you are engrossed in too many things. Very easy to convince yourself that since I don't have time, I don't do it. But I feel this is something that make you feel happy. So I was thinking that when I call it a day as an educator or as an administrator, probably I will get more time, and I will. One day I was thinking that I would just pack my bag and then go on taking some photographs, and that for internal happiness, that's important. And maybe one day, who knows, I will have my clicks there being exhibited. That's what I have also my dream. So I'm sure that many of you would have that. Please take most of this opportunity that the university has provided you. Companies like Sony, I have actually few of them. Sony made in Japan stuff. I bought it when I was there. Both video camera, DSLR, other things. DSLR is actually Canon, not Sony. which I have. But then I have many of these things. Earlier, it used to be like digital cameras. Now, phone has actually, smartphones have actually replaced those digital cameras. But I still have, it's all working actually. So, a company like Sony, I mean, they are also evolving with time and this thing. And then, Photography Club of India, it's an opportunity to meet people. I'm told that, there are experts from abroad also. They are going to, share their knowledge, expertise with all of you. Take it as an opportunity. This is something, and then try to practice it. Uh, these days, even the cell phones, I mean, these smartphones have really, become a good device. You can actually try from that as well. What it has taught me, in addition to my love to photography, I thought, as I said in the beginning, that attention to details, everything counts. And till you are very sure that, the light and even one thing that is like, not in place, you would not like it. And somehow I have imbibed that in my day-to-day thing that I do. And the people, colleagues who work with me, often they complain that, it's very difficult to actually satisfy you. I mean, you do one thing, we do best of the thing, and I tell them, well, you have done well, but then what's next? Let's better it. I don't take even a pause. Now, over period, I have learned that, taking a pause to celebrate is also important. But earlier, I was not the case. I'm actually confessing this. But I think over last few years, maybe a decade or so, I have learned that taking a pause to celebrate is also important. So I think you do that. I'm sharing this thing that, in search of that perfection, sometimes we become too mechanical, like a machine. We have a theme today, man and machines as well, right? So sometimes we become too mechanical. That's also not good. Maybe as a theme it's okay, but then taking a pause and reflecting back that what could we have done something differently. Though I think in the hindsight you can't take a decision, you can't go back. And this is not about photography, I'm talking in general. So, reflection is important, reflecting back. Think as a student, as a vice chancellor, I do every day the same thing. After a busy day, I actually sit back in the evening and then try to see that, what all I did and could I have done something better. This is something I try to, give this thing to my children, to all of you, that reflecting upon whatever you did is extremely important thing in your life. You can't go back and create a new beginning, but you can always create a new ending. From there you can actually move forward and actually try to change something that you would have otherwise done, and that comes through reflection. When you take photographs, this is actually, if you are not into photography, you will always have something, you can actually reflect back by memorizing things. But here you will get something visual there. You can actually go through, see that what happened, how it could have been better. And then there are, these days it's a Google era. So, early days probably, not in my days. When I was a school student, Google was not there. And even till college, Google was not there. But immediately after that, we got Google, after BTech. So now, it's even important. You don't need to actually search, go to libraries or anything. Just at a fingertips, you have everything, all information. So acquiring, seeking information has become easier now. But then what has actually it has done is actually you have got less time. You get, immediately, instantly you get everything. Earlier, instant thing was only like Maggie and coffee, only two things. Right? Instant coffee, instant Maggie. Now everything is instant. So that has actually reduced the attention span. Many of you might have started thinking that how long this guy is actually speaking. And this is because we have less attention span. But I think in some of these things, and anything you are doing creative, it takes time. That's how we have learned and we have practiced it. Now that less and more is actually a subjective thing. Sometimes if you are good enough, you develop yourself, skills, then probably it will take lesser time than today. If you are an amateur, it will take more time. But still, it is going to take longer than otherwise you would have anticipated. So my this thing is, be a reflective practitioner in whatever you do. And of course, if you are into photography, it's a wonderful, any of these creative art. Take your time, take a pause to celebrate, and then the next beginning. I hope that you are going to learn today. I think till afternoon, late afternoon, we have programs for you. Please be attentive and try to see that if you are actually into photography. Even if you are not, I'm sure that you are going to learn a lot of things. So I hope that this will be a fun-filled, but yet a learning day. To cheers to that, here's to this, the spirit of learning. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir. It's been so passionate coming from Dr. Jha. We generally do not see the passionate face of sir whenever we go and approach him. He's a very, very hard taskmaster. Our guest from the US, he is in fact in the jungles in South Africa at the present moment. He's on an assignment. He has already joined as scheduled, but we'll just take another 5 minutes and we'll finish this thing. My special thanks to Sony because they have been so generous. They have sponsored all the prizes. Special thanks to also Shobhashachi because he's been such a catalyst in this function. I would now request Mr. Saroj Kumar Dora to say a few words. Kindly keep it very short so that we can have our international guests join in very fast. Mr. Dora.
Good morning, everyone. So, first of all, thank you so much, and thank you, the team of the university, and thank you, Photography Club of India. They invite us for this wonderful session, and this is my first time here. And my name is Saroj Kumar Dora, and I take care of East and Northeast for technicals and all the marketing stuff. So basically, I just reached a little bit late, so because of the traffic, so sorry for that. And I heard the the professor, the dean, vice chancellors, he said about the photography and all. So we are going to learn something, and I will be even guiding you about the stuff. So as you know, it has been almost 19 years. I am in the photography. I am doing the photography as well as taking care of the technical and marketing. So I remember, when the photography I started, basically it was in the dark room with a larger and the color processor, but nowadays everything is in digital, and I don't know how much guys have tested the darkroom chemicals and all, but today most probably I will experience my old, I will share you my experience on the old stuff, what I have done. I was a journalist for Hindustan Times Daily English News in Bombay branch, and I worked there for around 5 years. And I have even covered the Bombay Taj attack, and I have covered, triple blast, a lot of things. So I will share my experience. It will be a good, interactive session, and I'm hoping all of you learn something from this session. And again, photography is a very, charming thing. You can say it's healing process. So everybody will be enjoy, and thank you so much. And our the other team will also join here. So thank you, and we'll be enjoying today with a lot of knowledge and experience. Thank you.
Saroj Babu, ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ. ମୁଁ ବି ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ ପଢ଼ିଛି. So I always try to utilize any occasion to speak Odia because that's somewhere I've always grown up and learned so much. I would now request Shobhashachi Mr. Shobhashachi Nath, Director PCI, to please share a few words.
Good morning, friends. Uh, Thank you, all the guests. You know all of them. Uh, the time is very tight now. I'll get another privilege to talk to you once in the technical session, rather the talk show in the last in the schedule. So I have a basic question: who is not a photographer here? None. Don't you take your selfies? So everybody nowadays is a photographer. So in a very small word, what we can learn from this kind of activities, sessions, is how to make the photograph little better, how to handle the available light little better. I hate this flashlight photography, sorry, but I never, pop up my flash, never. I started in the film era, then also I never did that. I believe in the available light, the natural light. So I must appreciate that all of the members who have submitted their images in the exhibition, those are really, really brilliant. We did not expect this level of performance while we planned to do something with some participants whom we don't know. But we had some idea, at least I had the idea, that as we are going to work with some media school, there must be some quality members who can deliver good photographs. And those are really beautiful photographs in the school section, in the college section, as well as the open section. Open section naturally is very vibrant, very perfect, because many of the aged people have submitted their photographs. So keep on clicking. Photograph. Now, 2 words about our club. What is Photography Club of India? So far, Photography Club of India is a Facebook club founded 8 years back by my friend Amit Dotto and me. First Amit Dotto, then I joined. Amit was a cancer survivor and he died 4 years back, 3 years back. So I gathered few more friends and we are continuing the show. Photography Club of India is absolutely till time a club where you can join for free. Anyone. If you love to see photo, even then we welcome you. We will request you to join the Facebook group of Photography Club of India, though we also organize international exhibitions in Academy of Fine Arts for number of days in a year. And we are lucky that almost every time we had foreign delegates for whom we did not pay. They came here from their own. I mean, the relationship insisted them to come here. And for COVID, 3 years, we failed to organize any exhibition. But again, we are coming up in this January, the same exhibition, maybe in a bigger form. We are planning much bigger form. We come out with the coffee table books. We regularly do photo workshops. We have a space in Salt Lake. Those are also free of cost. Anyone can join and anyone can have the learning material from those classes. We regularly arrange photo walks with mentors from different area. So if you are, I insist you can join the club against no cost, so that you can be updated with all of our activities day to day. If you are interested, if you have time, you can come and join. I would love to see your faces over there. So I'm just ending my speech and we'll see you in the talk show in the afternoon, where we will have Nivedita Dotto and Shandipan Mukherjee, two eminent photographers of Kolkata. I believe it will be a good learning session for all of you. Thank you.
I would now request our esteemed colleague, Dean SOMC, Dr. Mahul Brahmo to please round up, and then we'll go back and.
Thank you, MC. So, Honorable VC Sir, MC, esteemed guests on the podium, PCI and Sonny, a big thank you to all of you for making this happen. A big thanks to our colleagues at SOMC. It has been a huge amount of effort from all of you. And dear students, thanks to you for the contribution that you have made. The photographs are absolutely brilliant. As Shobhasaji said, serious amateurs, right? That is the word you've used. So serious amateurs. So the photographs are like serious amateurs. So great work, and we hope to do such events more often so that you all can engage and take part in this. So I'll just share one small thing. I remember when I was a kid, I was in school and we were just back from the Sundarbans. And at that point of time, we used to have a Kodak reel. And I, by mistake, I was toying with the camera and I, by mistake, opened the back side of the camera and exposed the reel. This resulted in the damaging of overexposure of a few photographs. My father scolded me. He was a teacher, and I'll never forget that. But today we've come a long way, and it is very easy to take a photograph, edit it, re-edit it if it is overexposed. You know, you can do it in your Instagram app or Snapchat app. But yes, the charm of the old world stays, and no matter how good you are, it is good if you expose yourself to the world of reels and the world of the dark room, as my esteemed panelist from Sony said. Learn about it. It's a very interesting thing to know. Keep clicking, and I wish you all the best. Our esteemed guest Peter is waiting on the other side, and Peter has already taken your classes. So he's eagerly waiting for the session to start. So thanks to all of you, and over to you, MC.
To please take their seats so that we can begin the session with Peter. We will now have a session with Mr. Peter Glending. He is W.J. Beale Distinguished Professor, Department of Art, Art History and Design, Michigan State University. Over to you, Swati.
Hello.
Peter, hi. Mahul here. Good to see you. So over to you now. Are you able to hear me? Okay. We are not able to hear you. Just give. कौन सा mute है? Just see. Us to unmute. Permission is not there. Just check. Peter, will you just try once?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Over to you, Peter. Good to see you again.
And this is commonplace knowledge for artists. But as I said, it's more often more emphasized, very heavily emphasized in the arts other than photography. As one of the previous speakers mentioned quite clearly, everyone is a photographer today. And as a result, there are many people who take photographs who are not making photographs. They are taking them and they're not really forming the pictures. They're responding with the camera without considering very often these visual elements. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. The camera is a very useful tool for capturing and documenting elements that don't really need to be formed into successful compositions. But if we're going to make photographs with some sense of seriousness of purpose, it's pretty important to pay attention to those things. So I'll just give you a few brief examples so that we all are on the same page in terms of the terminology. When we use a camera to make an exposure so that there's a very high contrast result that has very little detail in the shadow areas and indeed in the highlight areas as well, we're making a photograph that emphasizes shape. And shape is the two-dimensional aspect. If, on the other hand, we're making an exposure under different lighting conditions and different controls on the camera, we can make a photograph of very similar objects, which now show form, three-dimensionality, because form is revealed by highlight and shadow together. Texture is an aspect of form as well. Texture and our sense of touch is the least used of our senses. And one of the wonderful things about photography is that we can convey to the viewer an aspect of an object that they very often don't pay attention to. Tone is another visual element. And as photographers, we can either choose to make a photograph that renders tonality in what we might call a normal fashion, or we can make what we call a high key picture, like this one, very light overall in tonality, intentionally changing the exposure to do that, or we can make a photograph that is a low key photograph, one that has darker than normal tonalities, again, to convey something that the photographer perceives to be important, something that they're trying to reveal. Color, again, is something we take for granted, but as photographers, especially in the digital realm and using such fine cameras as Sony produces, we can make pictures that have a sense of vibrancy and contrast that can be quite striking, or we can go in the other direction and make photographs that have a monochrome effect. If we're fortunate enough to have a cat pass in front of us at a moment where we're photographing a wall with the same colors. Line, that's a very important aspect, to draw the viewer from one place to another, to make marks that the viewer recognizes, in this case, an S curve, that draw them seductively from the top to the bottom or vice versa. Pattern is also an aspect that photographers need to pay attention to. When you're underwater and a gaggle of fish pass in front of you, if you wait for just the right moment and angle your camera correctly, they might move from the lower right to the upper left and create a strong diagonal that will draw the viewer's attention. So these are all visual elements, the shape and form and texture, tone, color, pattern, line. And as image makers, no matter what medium we're working in, we want to organize these things. And there's some basic strategies that we can pay attention to upgrade the level of accomplishment in our pictures. One is to just pay attention to symmetry. And symmetry, of course, is the balance of visual elements on the left and the right-hand side of a center line. And in a very highly symmetrical photograph, those elements are almost exactly echoed on either side, somewhat like an ink blot test that a psychiatrist might give you. Asymmetry and these are both photographs, excuse me, that I made on a ship passing through the Corinth Canal. We have a very asymmetrical composition here, but I think most people would suggest that it is a balanced composition. That's because there is an area of visual interest that we would call visual weight. Visual weight means simply attractiveness. And I think most people would say that the attractiveness of the tugboat on the right and the canal itself have a visual weight that is balanced out by the much broader area of the picture, but less distinctive, that broad wall of the canal. Now, specifically about photography, and a previous speaker mentioned this, there's some baggage that burdens us as photographers and also as consumers of photographs as well. Using cameras, and everybody's using cameras today. Now, many years ago, it wasn't so easy for people to use cameras, especially pod, and in this case, maybe 8 or 10 people to manage it. But if we think about photography today, every 2 minutes, more photographs will be made than the entire number made between 1839 and 1869, the first 30 years of photography. It's quite an astonishing statistic. I wonder how many of you in the audience have ever done this, have ever put on an asbestos suit, had a vat of very hot molten metal, and poured that into molds to create sculptures. And I wonder how many of those have been made in the last 2 minutes. I would hazard a guess at not as many as there are photographs made. And this is one of the main things that we have to realize as photographers, is that what we're doing every single day can become routine. It's not as special, and it can be not as special if we choose to have it not as special as creating a sculpture from this process. But if we want to, we can look at each moment that we make a photograph as something that's as fresh and new to us as it might be making a cast bronze or metal, aluminum, or whatever sculpture. So what are the kinds of photographs that are normally made? I think you can still see me on the screen. So if I raise my hand up and hold it like this, you recognize the Statue of Liberty pose, that famous statue that's in our harbor in Manhattan. And when I was with Meghan and Harry last time, Harry had a little bit more hair. They're very, very nice people. I enjoyed being with them at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum in London. And we all make these sorts of photographs of ourselves. I've got this tough crew that comes around with me and protects me from all my fans. You've got the idea, right? So part of the baggage that we carry is that everybody is making photographs, and many people are making very silly photographs that entertain them and their friends. Nothing wrong with that, that they call selfies. There are unkind people in this world also who might see a photograph of you on social media and say, well, my gosh, what an ugly person they are. They have such crooked teeth, and I may, but I hope I have a straight smile. And so these photographs are used in very many different ways today with no concern whatsoever for composition or design or the visual elements. They have been forever. And part of the problem that we have as photographers is not just that everybody else is making photographs every day, maybe many times a day, but that we have baggage from our family snapshot albums and the photographs that we've been shown since we were little children, because those photographs were made not to have us actually look at the photograph itself, but to perceive the presence of people generally in those photographs. And I purchased this photograph at a yard sale here in the United States. And I'm confident that the people who had this photograph in their snapshot album really were not very concerned, or maybe didn't even look at the dog in the background, posing just as nicely as the ladies in the foreground. I'm confident that the people who enjoyed this photograph really didn't pay very much attention to the wonderful shadow of the photographer in the foreground. They were more interested in looking at the woman who owned the cat that won the award for being the fattest cat at the Lakeside Auto Court, I think. And probably when the family looked at this photograph of Aunt Jean, perhaps, and Uncle Wilson, who were my aunt and uncle, they probably didn't notice that looking at the whole picture, they might realize that it looked like they were standing there in the middle of an earthquake, that the ground seemed to be slipping out from under them. So my point is that we're trained from a very young age really not to look at photographs, really not to judge them based on the elements that we might use to evaluate a painting or print or a drawing or some other work of art. And as photographers who want to leap from making snapshots or selfies to photographs that have some meaningful content, it's very important to recognize this baggage that we carry with us. How a photograph like this could possibly be something that didn't raise uproarious laughter and curiosity in the recipients, but be a cherished item in someone's snapshot album. It's quite absurd, but at the same time, I'm sure it brought many happy memories to the people who were solely looking at the young man standing there. So sometimes artists make photographs that echo the means by which we have come to know photography in our youth. This is a photograph made by Diane Arbus of Eddie the Giant and his parents. And it has all the hallmarks of a traditional snapshot, a loving mother and father gazing at their son. And there's a certain recognition that we all have in a picture like this, but at the same time, a certain poignancy and a certain sense that there is something familiar, but something not familiar. Another aspect is the fact that we all carry these things around with us in our pockets, in our wallets and purses and so forth that we assume will identify us. And you can see from this slide that I have not been able to relax since August of 1977, when my leisure pass expired. I couldn't resist going to Peter's IGA, a food store, just to get this personal service card that says Peter's is for people. And there I am. It's wonderful. We all carry these pictures around with us. Here's my current driver's license. I think it's a horrible picture of me. I would never want to show it to anybody other than perhaps a police officer or kind people like you who won't laugh too hard at it and say, oh, what an ugly picture that is. But have you ever tried taking that photograph, that wallet of yours out and saying to the police officer, oh, here's my driver's license, but really that's not that can't possibly be me in that picture. You're going to be walking away with handcuffs on. Yet we do carry these things as identity, and that has an impact on our attitude towards making photographs as well, as opposed to taking them. Now, we've all learned either specifically or just by the act of looking at pictures, the rules for good photography. And I learned these when I was 12 years old, when I took the Boy Scout Merit Badge in photography. This is the cover of the Merit Badge book, which I still have and treasure, and I'll share those rules with you. Now, I want you to know my tongue is planted firmly in my cheek. So I'm telling you these rules, and they're actually very good rules for making a specific type of photograph. But like any game, the outcome is determined by the rules that we choose to follow, or the rules of the game itself. So one of those rules was hold your camera steady. Another, keep the background simple. A third, grass, trees, sky, and water make good backgrounds for your pictures. And of course, the reason for that is because they're simple. If we move in close to our subject, those of you who know how to control a camera know quite clearly that doing something like that will make the background out of focus. The depth of field gets quite shallow, and that makes a simple background. And so these are the rules for making a perfect snapshot photograph. Picture that has no content other than the presence of the person who happened to be standing in front of the camera. That's my shadow. The reason I'm here in South Africa this year is because I was here 3 years ago during the 25th anniversary of democracy. I worked with young people to create a project called Attached to the Soil, and that project name derives from the very first words that Nelson Mandela shared with his compatriots when he became president. This is what he said. He said, "I have no hesitation in saying each of us is as intimately attached to the soil of this beautiful country as are the famous jacaranda trees of Pretoria and the mimosa trees of the Bushveld. Each time one of us touches the soil of this land, we feel a sense of personal renewal." So he was using a beautiful metaphor to say that even if you're a jacaranda, which is a tree that was imported to South Africa by the British, or you are a mimosa, which is a tree indigenous to the Bushveld, in other words, doesn't matter if you're an imported person or an indigenous person, we all have our roots in the same soil. So I asked young people in the 25th anniversary year of that statement, what would they say as a young South African? And we made portraits of people reflecting a metaphor that the young person had for their understanding of South Africa today. So I'm going to show you some of the portraits that are hanging in the museum, which is about an 8-minute walk from here. And with apologies, because of our, I thought we were starting at 7, and with the confusion on the mechanics here, as well as the program, I'm going to have to leave a little bit early so I can get to my next presentation at 8 o'clock this morning here. But this is a portrait. You do, okay. Well, we both have time constraints then, but I'm glad to be able to share some of the portraits. I would just say that all of these are a mixture of natural light, as one speaker stated, and they are also using strobe light, flashlight. So there's a mixture in both the ambient light and the strobe light in creating these tableau portraits of people to express various hopes and dreams of the young South Africans. At some point in the near future, I'm going to be inviting young people from your beautiful country to participate in this project as well. And I'll look forward to sharing more of that with you later. Perhaps I will leave you with this portrait of Ela Gandhi.
So we could plan a session again with you and all the students of us, so that you can share all the details with them.
All right, I'll leave you with this portrait of Madam Gandhi, and wish you all happy clicking and paying attention to the visual elements and making great photographs. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'll look forward to another opportunity to share time with you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was great listening to you. Thank you.
Uh, we will now begin the technical session with Sony. I would request Mr. Saroj Dora to please come up on stage and take the session on the technical part of Sony. Mr. Saroj Dora. Mr. Dora. Momita, would you please see if Mr. Dora is outside? Yeah, his session. Students, please don't wander about. Mr. Dora, the stage is all yours.
Is there any color mark? हाँ 7-4 लेके आइए स्टेज पे. अरे ले लो जो भी है दिखाने के लिए. वाइड एंगल. Hello, hello. Hi. So, good morning again. Hope you guys are all good. I've given my small brief actually what I had done earlier. So again I'm telling you, so you have to be understand what is photography, and we'll be discussing about basics of photography. But we have another mentor for basics photography. I will guide you about technicality. So what Sony camera developed during these years. Okay. So as for your interest, I will be discussing about my past journey as well, right? So I hope you guys, few of them are in mass communication, right? Correct? So you guys have definitely hope to go for the media houses, or might be you will be choosing different genre after the education, right? Correct? Okay. So this is very fortunate for me as well. I was in Hindustan Times, so I have experienced the media lineup, how the media guys work, and what are the headaches we face during, what are the challenges we have faced during our period of time. And for me, it was a very unfortunate, you can say, but for me as a media guy, as a photographer, and during my period I have got a few good experience, and for the public it's maybe you can say that's a very unfortunate of the Taj attack, Mumbai blast, train blast, then the Hindu-Muslim wars. So I have covered a lot of things, and you will be also, once you will be into the media genre, then you have to face this kinds of situation sometime. Okay, so I started my career 19 years back with the dark room in a small town in Odisha. Then slowly I grew up with the technology. When I got to know that there is a lot of new technologies coming very soon, and I have to pursue my career in photography, and I have moved to Mumbai. And earlier I don't know anything, because you can say just after my graduation I just started with a small studio, and I started practice for the dark room how to do photography. During that time we usually start with the Kodak KV10 camera. Have you guys heard about that Kodak KV10? No? Okay, you didn't even seen that, right? Kodak KV10, that was a very famous camera during that time. Everyone has Kodak KV10, and it's come only 450 rupees. Okay, and we spend 100 rupees for a film which is a 30, you can say you can click only 30 frame, right? 30 film, 30 frame. It was very famous camera during that time. Then slowly the era has gone, and we are into the digital era, and a lot of people don't know how to not even seen that how the film time was and how we cover the events. And you can say when I was in we remember I remember we have some special people in the media house in the decks. We called it by 34 number card ke chipka dena. That is my best photo I remember. Nowadays in digital time we click continuously, and we click lot of picture. We don't even remember which picture is good and which picture will be good for publishing. We don't even remember. We click, then we go and we review that, check, then we give it to the media, you can just the Dex editor to go for the printing. But that time we remember that by 35 number picture dal dena, that is the best picture. I remember that because I am more confident about my shots that 35 number only is the best picture. Even after I click 30 picture, 35 picture, 36 picture. So this is how it work basically. And during that time they took the film, because we don't have that much time. We just run ek event aaya, you have to rush, click 30 picture, 35 picture, then run again, give it the darkroom specialist or whoever, and then again you have to rush. Then agar aap wahan pe check karte rahenge, then it will be maybe you will lose the shots, best shots. So you have to remember that kind of things. But nowadays digital era is very different. We click thousands of pictures and give it to the editor. They find out which picture is the best, which will be going to the column, and then it will be go to for the printing. Do you guys understand what is standalone? Any have heard? Anyone already maybe gone through this word? Anyone? No? I understand. I have already discussed with the dean that few of them very new, maybe joined yesterday, right? And few of them are already gone through the basics of photography. You guys understand photography, basics of photography, correct? What is exposure, correct? What is your exposure triangle? Understood? Might be we have another mentor, Rishika. She will also take you through that. I'm just sharing my experience and some camera related, Sony camera related equipments which is nowadays popular in the market. All right. So you can say in media, why I'm talking about media, because I'm just sharing the experience. When I got to know that it's a mass communication students are in front of me, then I'm excited to say that. Okay, that was my very good experience during my time. So I started 19 years back with the dark room. I chemically I wash the photographs. Then we do the touch up, pink touch up on the films, negatives.
You have not been that, I know. Then I shifted my career to Mumbai. I went there to pursue my career in photography. Then I worked with the film stars. I work for the journal, what do you call it, advertising photography, and we pitched up with that. I particularly pitched up with their nakras basically. All right. So if you give time, like we have a short prepare on 2 o'clock, they will come by 4 o'clock, and your entire system will be got shifted. Then I slowly changed to my career to journalism. Then I got an opportunity that you have to do a research and development in Sony, and you have to join in Delhi head office. Then I shifted again my career. It's a swing basically in photography. And now when Sony has come, we take over Minolta. Did you guys heard Minolta by any chance? You heard? There is a company called Minolta earlier days. Before 2012, it was a very famous company called Minolta. Okay, Minolta. Then there is a Minolta Konica. All right. So Sony has taken over that company and started production of Minolta and Sony merging company, and they product the camera, which was a technology called DSLT. Earlier was DSLR. Okay. Then the new technology has evolved. That is called DSLT. We called it digital. Anyone? No? DSLR? Anyone say the full form? Correct? Digital single lens reflex. DSLT, digital single lens translucent technology, which is a translucent technology. Okay, this is a new technology completely. We started with that technology. Slowly we move on to mirrorless technology. So mirrorless technology is a completely different technology, which is nowadays very popular. We called it a future of the photography. And photography, you guys know what is photography? No? Yes, of course, photos and graphos. Photos and graphos. So it's a small Greek word, you can say. So photos stand for light, and graphos stand for painting. You can say graphical presentation. Light with the graphical presentation is called photography. And P start from photography, P start from patience. If you don't have patience, then you can't be a good photographer, you can't be a good cinematographer. Again, photography has two line basically. One is still photography and another is motion photography. Okay, so in motion photography you can say cinematography, videography, whatever you can call it. And still photography, all pictures are still, right? You have to freeze. Nowadays, during this lockdown situation, we have faced a lot of challenges, but there is industry grow up very fastly. We have the camera here. Okay. There is an industry, it grow up very fastly. I'm just giving you some small example, you can understand that. Any hints? Yeah, vlogging. All right. This industry has grown up very fast, very rapidly growing, very rapidly. And it was earlier, but it started from the lockdown. We have seen that there is a big spike. Okay, there is a big spike in the market because we are into the market. We know how to drive the market. We are not a good speaker, might be, but we are a market businessman basically. So we run the market. So we know that what are the spikes are. So there is an industry. It's grow very fastly. It's growing very fastly actually, and that is called vlogging. Okay, and of course, everyone is already into the social media, and the social media giving the boost to the vlogging. Earlier, there is a lot of websites, lot of applications are running. Like you guys know, one was like Instagram. Anyone has Instagram channel? Everyone, I hope. Everyone, Instagram channel, Facebook, everyone, even छोटे बच्चे का भी होता है. Am I right? Then YouTube, anyone YouTube channel here? No one? See, this is the market of social media, very frankly. Okay, this is the market of social media. This is the era of social media. And you should have at least the Instagram. See, I am not insisting of the family drama. That is called Facebook, you can say easily. But Instagram at least, because this is purely photography community. Okay, and we study that, and we have meet a lot of people, lot of photographers, lot of Instagrammers. We conduct the Instagrammer, you can say workshops, organize a lot of Instagrammer meets. Okay, we meet them, YouTubers meet, we have conducted, we have meet them. We know that how the business is growing, how the market is flowing. Okay, so Instagram, it's at least you should have for the photography, because it is very good in photography and purely into photography language. And YouTube, of course, there is a lot of different drama you can create on YouTube and make it your own channels and maybe grow up. That is up to you. So nowadays all the camera company try to incorporate and take the opportunity to develop the camera for photography, videography and vlogging, all the three phases. Like if you want to shoot something, it's in photography. If you want to do some videos, then videography. You want to do for Insta, if you want to do for vlogging, then you can do a vlogging. So all the camera is designed accordingly that if you want to go and pursue your career in any direction, that camera can support, because without camera it's not possible, right? You can't capture your emotion, you can't capture your feelings, and camera is the only gadget you can do that by any form, photo, video, or might be you want to do it through a the logging. So we have couple of camera, I'll show you. Okay, this is basically, we started from 2013. We launched the Alpha 7 model. This is the first full frame camera from the Sony in mirrorless camera. Earlier we had translucent technology that is called Alpha 58 model, Alpha 68, 99, 77, like kind of models. Nowadays the models are already out on the market and you can't find out that models, but Alpha 7, 7.2, 7.3, these are the successor of 7, 7.2, 7.3. This model has already launched and is in the market. Now we have launched another model which is called 7.4 as well. This is the new model which is available in the market, which is a 33 megapixel camera and 10 fps, which is when you shoot some images and you want to shoot on burst mode, then it in one single shot it will give you 10 photos. 422 10 bit 4K 60p. These are some technical words, might be you will understand later on when will be someday at detailed workshop or detailed class with you guys. But this is very small time if I say I want to teach you, because 422 10 bit is a very long process. This is very technical. I'm just giving you basic idea of the cameras. Best for photos, best for videos, best for vloggings. And we have couple of models which is popular in the market, like Alpha 1. So Alpha 1 camera, might you guys have not heard that. This is the camera which is one of the best from Sony, okay, the beast. it has give you 30 frame per second with 50 megapixel. So now you know megapixel war is very high. Every manufacturer wants to make their camera in higher megapixels. Okay, it never end. अगर हम आज 61 दे रहे हैं, कल कोई कंपनी बोलेगा कि हमने 70 दे दिया, कल बोलेगा कोई कि हमने 100 दे दिया. So it never end. It will continue till जब तक मेगापिक्सल फोटोग्राफर्स रहेंगे तब तक मेगापिक्सल का वॉर रहेगा. Alright, so A1 is basically for a who are the buyers, who are the actually users, basically the sports, action, journalism, and you can say wildlife photographers, bird photographers, they want high speed camera, and this is the A1 camera which is actually fulfill their requirement, because 30 frame per second no camera yet provided by any manufacturer. So Alpha 1 might be your requirement or not, but if someone pursue their career in wildlife, bird photography, journalism, they will think about it later on. Okay, but Sony has already providing you, or all the worldwide, those who are the best wildlife photographer, bird photographer, or those who are the best journalism agency, they are using A1 camera. Then we have another model called 7S3. Okay, S stands for sensitivity, and sensitivity, when we talk about sensitivity, so sensitivities come from the internal light, which is called ISO, you can say. All right, ISO performance. This camera has 4,09,600 ISO. All right, 4 lakh ISO, you can imagine. So when you don't have any light in, you want to shoot something, you have planned something to shoot and you don't have natural light, you want to add on the artificial light, and still the artificial light is not enough, then you can boost through your camera up to 4 lakh. And this is a 12 megapixel camera for mostly for video makers, OTT platform, those who guys are basically plan something for OTT, they are the buyers. Cinematographers, they want to shoot for the low light documentaries, independent filmmakings, they are mostly the buyers of 7S3. Okay, this is basically the primary is filmmaking, primary is cinematography, okay, and secondary is photography, because the megapixel is 12 megapixel, so secondary is 12 photography. Then we have 7R4. R is stands for resolution. All right, so resolution means you need higher megapixel, and that camera is 61 megapixel camera, mostly for advertising makers. All right, if you want to shoot for any productions, okay, advertising, big pictures, right, if you want to shoot for portraits, studio portraits, okay, whatever needs resolution, you can choose for that camera, which is 7R4 series, 61 megapixel. We have the downgrade model as well, that is called 7R3, which is a 42 megapixel, but this camera is 61 megapixel. So these are the, actually we have segregated all the models according to requirement. And 7.3 and 7.4, this is the basic model, this is the starting model from Sony, which is a 24 megapixel and 33 megapixel all-rounder model. So if you want to start your career with the full frame camera, then this will be the choice, that 7.3 and 7.4 according to your taste. Okay, so 7.3 is basically 24 megapixel and 7.4 is a 33 megapixel camera, and of course megapixel matters. We are running out of time. It's okay. So I hope you guys understand about the sensor. Sensor. How many types of sensors are available in the market? Any guesses? No? Okay, so let me tell you. So might be you are first time with me, so that's why maybe you are not raising your hand. All right. So Sensors are available. There is a lot of different type of sensors available in the market. But very common sensor is full frame sensor, which is a 3624 mm. All right, and there is a paper called APEC sensor, which is actually 16 into 24 mm. All right, if you calculate the size, 24 and 36, then 16 and 24. So there the sensors are, then there will be sensor called 1-inch sensor, then micro four third sensor. There is a small sensor in your mobile phone. You guys know that how much sensor, what are the size of the sensor? It's very small, you can say, right? It's very small. Whatever you do with your mobile phone, it can't be produced. It's up to your mobile phone or maybe social media only. Okay, but if you want to produce something on a bigger size, bigger scale, then you need a, of course, camera, which is maybe DSLR, mirrorless, translucent, any technology. But you have to take a camera and you have to be capture that event, capture that movement, capture that emotions, and showcase it or maybe exhibit it. So sensors are taking a vital role whenever you are into a digital era, because earlier was the film, now it's sensor. Everything is on sensor. If the sensor is more powerful, you will get more quality picture. Okay, so then again, processor. Earlier was again the film, nothing called processor. But now processor, what we have developed through the developer and mixed it through the chemicals. But now the processor, so as much as faster processor you have, you can capture that much FPS. Like the A1, 30 FPS. You can imagine the processor, how much fast the processor is. Even it's giving you 50 megapixel with 30 FPS. Okay, so processor is again giving a vital role here to capture and save your image. And technically we called it AD converter. So analog data to digital data converter. So anyway, these are the major things we have to understand. These are few things, mostly the megapixel, the ISO performance, the dynamic range. So how much dynamic range in your camera. If the dynamic range is high, then of course you will get a best output. Focusing system, how the focusing system is working, the eye autofocus. Nowadays there is a new system called eye autofocus. It automatically track your eyes. Wherever you go, it's follow you. All right, because these cameras are all AI technology, artificial intelligence technology, Android technology. So mostly the half human brains are already fitted. So you don't have to worry how the camera will perform. It automatically understand that what you want to shoot, who is in front of you, and how to track and how to, capture. These are the basically accessories. Let it be go. And nowadays the camera, like I said, these are all the camera you can easily connect through your laptop, through the application called Imaging Edge, and you can go for the web meeting, live streaming. So because nowadays this is the biggest platform which is in the market, because live streaming we are mostly accepting nowadays. Okay, so let's little bit talk about the lenses. So lenses are very important again. We have around 70 type of lenses. So if I give you a camera without lens, then are you able to click a picture? No, not at all, right? So lenses is very important, and this is the biggest confusion again. Lenses is the biggest confusion. Which lens we have to buy and how it will perform, because we have 70 lenses, and what are the lenses, which lenses is like fulfill your requirement. Basically, whenever you choose your genre, which lenses will fulfill your requirement. So we have to understand. So lenses has lot of lenses. We have 12 mm to 600 mm lenses. Means if you want to choose 12 mm, you will get it 12 mm. If you want to choose 600 mm because your work, if you want to be a wildlife photographer, or maybe you want to be shoot from far away and you need it 600 mm, you will get it 600 mm lens. So we have 70 type of lenses. So mostly lenses are lot of varieties of lenses, and lenses has different type of lenses like quality as well, like G Master series, G series and Zeiss series. So we have 3 type of series. Zeiss series are of course one of the best series in the market. Then we have some premium series of lenses which is called G series, and we have master lenses that is called G Master lenses. So according to that the price vary, and the quality also give you differently, because G Master are the best lenses which is giving you up to 100 megapixel quality. Alright, so we have 70 lenses, then it will be better. Then there is a lot of different company, they make their lenses for different companies. Like if I'm giving you an example like Sony, Nikon, Canon, okay, they are the manufacturer for the bodies, okay, but later there is a lot of third party company, those who make the lenses for them also, like Sony, Nikon, Canon. So lenses are a lot of lenses, so don't get confused, only focus when you want to choose a lenses. And ideally the best lenses is 24-70, okay, h4 2.8 or might be f4. So you guys understand 2.8, what is 2.8, what is f4, you understand, but rest all, anyone, have you heard about it? No? Yes? Can you say what is 2.8? Aperture value, what it give you? 2.8 f4, that is aperture, but what it will give you? But means why 2.8, why not f4? Yeah, it will give you more light into the camera, right? If your camera is, if your lens is in 2.8, it allows lot of light to your sensor. If it's f4, then it allow little bit lesser than 2.8, like the lenses has made. Okay, so because of that it called 2.8 and f4. So you will learn basics later on, then little bit aperture, maybe little bit exposure, they will guide you. Okay, so these are the basically process when if you want to go for, and we to choose most probably on 24-70 lens, because this is not so wide, not so taily, ideally good for any kind of photography. If you want to shoot street photography, 24-70 will be ideal. If you want to shoot landscape, journalism, okay, portraits, everything, 24-70 is the first lens which mostly the guys choose. Might be they will go for the specific location, specification of the lenses, like there is a specified lenses like 85 mm, 24 mm, 50 mm, 35 mm, there is a lot of lenses. So we choose first 24-70, then we change the direction, which direction we have to go, photography, videography. Okay, if you want to go for photography, then we mostly choose 24-70, after 24-70, 70-200. If I am going to videography, after 24-70 I choose mostly 16-35. This is my choice. Okay, mostly I guide to the photographers, whoever ask me. Then the third lens, I mostly for photography I choose 85 mm, that is a block lens for portrait. You will learn later on, I am just giving a small idea what is 85 mm, what is 24-70, what is 2.8. There is a lot of drama here, okay, because photography is a vast course, it's a very big vast course. I have spent 19 years, might be my other colleagues or our mentors, they have spent more than that. Even like Peter, he was maybe 30 years experience. Still we get confused about the lenses, which lens we have to purchase next and next and next. Okay, so get smarter, take your requirement, project base, then you choose your lenses. Okay, so I have shown you a couple of images. My earlier days I have shot a lot of different images, so few things, then I will be closing and I will hand over to Rishika. She will be taking you through the other process, the next session. Okay, these are some Bollywood images, so I'm just skipping this. I'm just showing you the hardcore standalone shots. So as I said, do you guys heard what is standalone? So I asked you, but nobody said that what is standalone. Standalone is basically a single shot, a single picture give you much information. Okay, you don't need the bylines, the taglines, or might be any notes on that picture. The single picture itself told you, or the viewers can understand that picture if they see, then what exactly the photographer wants to show you. Okay, so this is called standalone. Simply एडिटर बोलते हैं कि आज पिक्चर में कुछ नहीं जाना, आज कुछ स्टोरी नहीं है मार्केट में, गो एंड गेट द स्टैंड अलोन. आप अगर जर्नलिज्म में जाओगे तो आपको एडिटर ऐसे ही बोलेंगे. देन यू हैव टू स्मार्ट एनफ एंड अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज स्टैंड अलोन एंड यू हैव टू रश टू द मार्केट. और आपको ऐसा पिक्चर लेके आना है, यू हैव टू क्लिक दैट काइंड ऑफ पिक्चर जो आप प्रूव कर सकते हो वो सिंगल पिक्चर प्रेजेंटेबल हो. ओके, so what do you understand with this picture? Anyone? Very simple shot, nothing else, straightforward with patterns, graphics, colors. Okay, but for a viewer इसका क्या मतलब है, एक न्यूज के लिए इसका क्या वैल्यू है? Anyone? Winter season is coming, very true. Yeah, winter is coming. Okay, sorry. Yeah, but my presentation was the winter actually. You can't say the father and daughter because there is a lot of daughter many queens. So winter, you can see in the market there is a lot of variations of the caps, you know, woolen cloths. That is what. What is the news value of this picture? Sorry? Again? Yeah, after immersion. After immersion, the pollution. All right? Think like that. Okay, this is journalism. We have the special access for that during that time because nobody allows you to shoot through the boards inside the water, and you have to show them the crowd, the skyline. Okay, so you have to be this picture is different now. Now you can say the period of immersion, the Ganesh Chaturthi. Okay, this is different. In the similar version अगर आप इसको compare करेंगे, this is very opposite. You have to capture a lot of things, not only new stuff, sometime glamour stuff as well. For page 3, this is for the street, this is in the marathon. You have to showcase differently. We're going faster, huh? We are out of time. Sometime food photography as well. This is on the street. What is good in this picture? You can find out the legs of the guys. They are very tight, just overlapping each other. This picture, can anyone hear it? Now you can say your word. I remember. Father-daughter love, right? So now you can relate. So father-daughter love, you can say the love of love to animals, whatever you can say. The picture should be strong enough to go standalone, right? Again, winter. Anyone? This picture? This is a mobile hospital in the street of Mumbai. Again, you have to show the street of Mumbai. Nobody can say ये बॉम्बे में था या दिल्ली में था या कोलकाता में था. So next picture can easily narrate you. You can see the auto, you can see the bus. Basically, this kind of BST bus only run in the Mumbai. So you have to, you have to wait. I said, peace for patience. एक बार मैं शूट करके आ जाऊंगा, इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल. एक बार में क्लिक करके आपको पूरा पिक्चर नहीं मिलेगा, कंप्लीट स्टोरी नहीं होगा. यू नीड again P for patience. When Mr. Uddhav Thackeray out from angioplasty, he was admitted in Lilavati. You can't believe there is 1,000 photographers behind of me. कोई पेड़ में बैठा हुआ है, कोई दीवार पे बैठा हुआ है, कोई टेली लेंस लेके बैठा है, कोई छोटा लेंस लेके बैठा हुआ है, and they are just waiting for a single movement when Uddhav Thackeray come out from the hospital and sit in the car and go to his home, leaving for home. Just इतना ही मूवमेंट है. अगर आप कैप्चर नहीं कर पाए then we are failed. अगले दिन आपके पेज में कुछ नहीं देगा. सबके पेज में उद्धव ठाकरे और द फोटोग्राफर क्रेडिट लाइन. आपके फोटोग्राफर आप गए थे वहां पे और आपका ना क्रेडिट लाइन है, ना ही आप वहां पे हो, ना आपका पिक्चर वहां पे है. सो यू जस्ट इमेजिन ए सिंगल पिक्चर विल पूरा जो पेपर का रेपुटेशन है वो खराब कर सकता है और उसको बढ़ा भी सकता है. सो यू हैव टू थिंक ऑलवेज लाइक दैट. Rain, when you shoot rain, you have to note it down that your shutter speed has to be very fast to capture the raindrops. See here, Janmashtami ka picture है, very common. But why I have shot like that? Mumbai is not for only high-rise buildings. There is a small slum involved. Okay, so slum buildings भी दिखाना जरूरी है. Again, for presentation purpose, you need both. Okay, always 3 perspective: wide, mid, tight. Understood that? Whenever you click, I'm just running out of time. I'm going faster. All right. Whenever I feel, I will show you, tell you few things. When she got the first gold, the heavy rain lashes to Mumbai and all traffic jam and all. Simple sober picture is this picture got me award in London, the best photographer of the year in 2012. Very simple, nothing. Just have to understand the light and just have to understand the color, backlights. Okay. MD of Jaguar earlier. Now this is winter. Very rarely Bombay में winter आता है, and you have to show. And I wait there to shoot the passing bus, which is a BST bus, the landmark of Mumbai. Water logging is very common in Mumbai, okay, during rain. you take the safe shelter and click, because बारिश शूट करने में बहुत मज़ा आता है, राइट? विंटर, बारिश, समर शूट करने में बहुत मज़ा आता है, बट बहुत लोग इरिटेट होते हैं शूट करने में, बट जिन लोग को शूट करने का मज़ा आता है ना, दे विल गॉट ऑलवेज द बेस्ट पिक्चर. This is Holi, special kind of Holi in the tribe nearby Mumbai. This mostly in rain Holi. Okay, I'll just give you one small. I'll show you one small photo story here. Then we'll wrap up. 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes. This is called Moksha House. I have done a photo story here. This story has not yet completed, but only 5-10% has left yet. मैं हर साल जाता हूँ यहाँ पे. This is in Banaras. Okay. So you are from Banaras? Okay. So this is in Banaras, and I have a good contact there to allow me to go inside and capture the pictures. So this is Moksha House. People are come here to die. Okay, हम लोग हॉस्पिटल जाते हैं बचने के लिए, लोग यहाँ आते हैं मरने के लिए. So they think like that, if they die here, they got the moksha. Okay, so he's the guy who run this house. जो पंडित जी हैं, थोड़ा सा intense है, but anyway, this is the 4th generation people. मतलब चारों जनरेशन उनके यहाँ पे हैं, and you can see light and set drama. You have to shoot as जो भी उसका लाइट वैल्यू वहाँ पे है, जो भी उसका मोड है वहाँ पे, मतलब जैसे भी दिख रहा है, जो भी उसका what you called ambience है. ड्यूरिंग लास्ट मूवमेंट गीता भागवत का पढ़ाई होता है. मैं 2-3 बार गया, देखा कि वहाँ पे कोई है नहीं, फेलोर हुआ, वापस आया. एक फिर गया, फेलोर हुआ, वापस आया. फिर गया तो एक बार कुछ अलग मिला, फिर नेक्स्ट टाइम गया तो दूसरा कुछ मिला. सो यू हैव टू क्लब लाइक दैट. यू हैव टू सबको आपको जमा करके देन यू हैव टू मेक ए स्टोरी. ऐसा नहीं कि एक विजिट पे आपको सब मिल जाएगा एंड यू विल बी कंप्लीटिंग योर स्टोरी. अच्छा लगा नेक्स्ट विजिट में, देन रिप्लेस इट. Anyway, thank you so much. And all right, okay, I'll keep a laptop here. You want laptop? Oh.
Thank you, Mr. Dora. It was a wonderful presentation, very passionate, and I can understand that you are a journalist at heart, and in fact, a journalist can have that perseverance of going back to the same place once again to get the perfect shot, and kind of write a story that depicts the entire photograph with the details that is needed to be said in words. Thank you very much. I would not go into a tea break as was planned, because tea is always there, so anybody is going out and having tea. So we'll go to the next session. I would now request Madam Rishika Brahmo, mentor Sony, to come up on stage and do her presentation. Let's have a round of applause for Mr. Dora, and also now another one for Rishika Brahmo.
Hello. Hello everyone. Hello. So basically I'm Rishika Brahma. I'm Sony mentor. I will go through basics of photography, but I fairly understood that everybody has some idea about photography here, and you have some idea of basics. I'll take you through with my process of basics. This is a small introduction about myself. So photography started very abruptly in my career. I was actually a chartered accountancy student and extremely stressed with my course of studies. And one day I happened to pass an exhibition, and I just went in and I went through a lot of photographs in that exhibition. So I thought it's a painting exhibition, but it turned out to be a photography exhibition. And when I saw the pictures, like Saroj mentioned, that standalone photographs. So, a standalone photograph can say a lot about the happenings in that moment and everything. So I went through the exhibition and it really moved me. And that's how I picked up photography as my hobby and eventually a profession. I'll take you through some of my, so my genre of photography is basically weddings. I specialize in creative wedding photography. So I'll just take you through some of the images that I've made. Okay, before I start, I would like to thank Sony because the kind of gear and the kind of support we get from the company is huge, and it actually helps us in taking whatever kind of photographs, like the range of lenses, the performances of the camera is one of the best in the industry now. So That is why I would like to thank for the support they provide. Okay, coming to the basics of photography here. This Saroj explained very nicely. What is photography? So photography is a big word divided into two. It gives you photo and graphy. So photo means light and graphy means painting. So painting with light is photography. The terms explains and defines photography very correctly. So to paint with light, we need light, that is exposure. How much light we need to paint a photo and how less light we need to paint a photo is what is exposure. So the amount of light you need in your photo is exposure. And exposure, if you break down, has three main primary elements. First is aperture, second is shutter speed, and the third is ISO. So can you guys tell me what is aperture? Oh, okay, now I am new here. Okay, so aperture basically, I'm sure you guys know also, but aperture basically is the opening of a lens. How much light will you allow to enter a lens is aperture. So opening in a lens through which light passes to the camera is aperture. Now the amount of light into the camera, so this is what I said. Do you want a small portion of light to enter your camera, or do you want a bigger amount of light inside the camera? Do you want a small portion of your photo to be in focus, or you want the, if I take a photo of this auditorium right now, do I want a particular area of the auditorium to be in focus, or do I want the whole auditorium in focus? That decides what kind of aperture will you allow your lens to have. So there are two elements that an aperture can decide. One is light, the other is how much focus you want. Do you want everything in focus, or do you want very small portion in focus? So this is a photo of my pet. I just wanted his eyes to be in focus. So I have used an aperture of f2, and that's how everything else is out of focus. Even his paws, if you see, it's very soft. This is a photo that I have taken in approximately maybe 3.2, f3.2. This gives you more focus. You have more area in focus in this photo. This is little more, like 4.5 or 5 maybe. And this photo, you can see everything is in focus, even the last 10. So 5 of this 10, even the last 10 is pretty well visible. So maybe I've taken it in maybe 9 or something. So also when you're deciding what aperture or how much light you'll allow to enter, you have to also understand that if I allow very less light into the camera, then that area where I'm taking the photo should also have adequate amount of light available. Otherwise, this is not possible. In a dark room, if I put a aperture of f9 or something, I don't think so this photo would have worked. It would have been completely black. This is also f5.6 or something. Here you can see two of the subjects really apart from each other, though it's not looking too much apart, but they were. But both are in focus. So the next point is shutter speed. So if I open a door for some time, then you'll see that many people can come in through that door. Here by people I mean light. So if I open the shutter for quite some time, then much of the light can come in. And if I just open the door and shut it immediately, then very less light can come inside the camera, which is shutter speed. So with the speed I open and close the shutter will allow that much light. This shutter speed has also 2 points in it. One, of course, the light, how much light will come in and how much less light will come in. The second point is that how much stable you want your shot to be. Do you want a lot of motion in your photo, or do you want your picture to be freezing the moment? If you want a lot of motion in the photo, then you have to keep the door open for quite some time for the motion to happen in the real life, whatever you're taking. And if you want to freeze the time, then you have to open and shut the shutter immediately. So this is a motion shot. This is also a motion shot. So the car, the blue car, so recently I shot for Mercedes India. There was a Fame the Stars competition by Better Photography. I was invited to take few photos of some cars, and this Mercedes was just standing there for me to shoot, and the traffic was moving, and I kept my camera very standstill and took a longer shutter photo. That's how I got the Mercedes, and obviously the bridge is not moving, so in absolute focus, and everything else blur. This is freeze the moment. This is again my pet. He was taking bath, and it's a photo that I've taken where the shutter, I've opened the shutter and immediately closed it, so it froze the moment completely. Even you can see the water droplets just where it was. Next, third element of exposure is ISO. ISO sensitive cameras are extremely expensive ones. Saroj explained you a lot about cameras and sensors. So ISO previously used to be film sensitivity. Now it is sensor sensitivity. ISO is basically sensitivity of a camera to capture light, to receive light. So a lower ISO value means less sensitivity towards light, and higher ISO means more sensitivity. How much light you want, how much light is available. So before deciding the sensitivity of an like ISO or sensitivity of the camera, how much you want, it is very important to understand the light on your subject. So how much light is falling on your subject is what will be your deciding factor to ISO, how much ISO you want. So this photo I might have taken in 100 ISO, which is like very basic and less. Whereas this is a photo that I've taken maybe 12,000 ISO because there was no light at all. There's a lot of noise and grains in the frame because there was just this spotlight which was there. Other than that, piche, there was nothing. This is inside a coal mine. This is an underground coal mine. The light that is available on his eyes is basically, I asked another worker to look at him. So as soon as he looked at him, there was light on his face. Other everything else is black. So here you really need sensitive sensors. This is also a moonlit picture actually. So basically exposure triangle. Exposure may I said there are three main points. Aperture, shutter speed and ISO. And in this three are related to one another. There's an exposure triangle. This is an exposure triangle. So if we keep everything quite open, then the amount of light, and even if we keep the ISO value really, really high, then the amount of light that will enter the camera will simply burn your image into white. And if I keep everything really like aperture value small in the sense 9, 11, something like that, and shutter speed really low, and ISO is also low, then there will be no light that will enter your camera, and there will be no painting done with your camera, like with the light that is available. So basically next is composition. There are different compositions that are available, like grammar to take photographs. So the first one is rule of third, center composition, frame in frame, leading lines, diagonal and triangle, repetition of patterns and negative space. I'll show you photographs to explain. So this you can say it's almost rule of third, it is. So if you divide one frame horizontally as well as vertically into three divisions, the intersection points, keeping your subject in intersection points, is basically rule of third. So my subject is in one of the intersection point. This is a center composition where I've kept my subject exactly in the middle. This is frame in frame. You can see there's a bride lehenga just in the middle of the frame, and there's a lot of frame forming one after the other. This is also frame in frame. This is leading lines. So the lines, the flags, they are all leading to you towards the subject. So this is leading lines. This is negative space. There's a lot of negative space, and there's a very small subject in your frame. Also this is also rule of third. So two compositions apply here. This is you can say a triangle composition where you can see three old people and there's this Mercedes car. So Mercedes, I was not supposed to take beauty shots of Mercedes. I was invited to take shots of Mercedes which are generally not taken by the automobile photographers. So we were supposed to take Mercedes in an urban landscape, in an urban situation. So after all the compositions and everything, what makes a photograph into a great photograph? So a photograph becomes a great photograph only if you have if you can capture the feel of the picture very perfectly. So until and unless you have expression, emotion, even if you're taking still life, even if you're taking art, if you can capture the images which tells the story, which narrates what you want to narrate through the photograph, then I think that becomes a perfect and a great picture. This is a series I did. It's a very emotional series for me because my grandmother was detected breast cancer just before this, and she was going through few ray therapies. She couldn't go through chemotherapy only because of her age. So at that point of time, I just wanted to capture her daily life just to keep a nice memory of her. So this is a small series that I did over 1 month. This is when she gets up early in the morning and prays. We have our own temple, so she prays from my house. She goes to the roof every day, even now, just for some fresh air and everything. She was, even though it was not chemotherapy, she was still losing a lot of hair. So she had really long hair. So she had to cut down hair every now and then just to, look a little not very sick. But she was not happy. You see her face. This is a rare moment when I generally see my grandfather and grandmother both laughing at the same time. So somehow the picture went blur. ISO shutter speed and aperture ka kuch hua tha. But then I liked it a little blur and the shaky feel of it. So, yeah, please. Yeah. So negative space, you basically, I'll show you the photo that I. So negative space is basically when you capture your subject and your subject has very less proportion in the whole photograph. The subject is even negative space not only means that your frame should be completely empty. That is also not the point. So even if you take your subject should take very negligible amount of space in the frame, then it is negative space. You can take your subject in a very crowded area, like we shoot in flower markets and all that, and your subject takes a very negative amount of like space in your in the frame, but still there are other materials and other things available also. That is also negative space image, and this is also because this is a proper negative space photo. There is nothing. So if the auditorium is absolutely empty and there's just a very maybe two people are just sitting, and I take a photo of that, keeping those two people taking very negligible amount of space in my picture, and the whole empty auditorium is showing, is a negative space photo. It's gone. I am almost towards the end of the presentation, so if you have any question, anybody, you can ask me. Yeah. Okay. Hi. Hello. Yes, I have my favorite part. So, challenging, I would say, see, to be very honest, I do wedding photography. It's one of the most challenging, I feel, because every kind of photography is tested in wedding photography. So if I go, I might have to take pictures of food, I have to take pictures of people, might have to take photographs during a really crucial moment. It almost feels like a sports photographer. So weddings are challenging, and that is a part. But my favorite part of photography is people. Without having people in the frame, I am a kind of photographer who would not work very good. So I need a human being or animals to be there in my photo. So I need life in my picture. So that is my favorite part of photography. challenges are pretty much available in my genre. So there are a lot of many genres of photography that you can choose if you choose to become a photographer. There's travel photography, photojournalism, food photography. The list is huge. You can go through and you can actually choose which is your call. But initially I would say you should try everything once and then you'll understand your calling. So when I went to do landscape and when I went to do a wildlife photography with my husband, that is when I understood that I can't take good pictures without people. So that's how I understood my calling and my liking towards what I like in my pictures. So I do weddings, I told you that. And these are some of my wedding photos. This is my Facebook page and Instagram handle. Please follow me. And that is it. If you guys have any more question or anything to ask, happy to answer here and happy to help.
We are coming to the last session, the panel. Before that, we would like to present the token of appreciation to Rishika Brahmo. Please come. I would now request Mr. Dora to please come up on stage. Team to please felicitate Mr. Dora. Mr. Sharoj Kumar Dora, Sony. Please, team. Thank you, sir. I would now request Mr. Shobhashachi Nath to please come up on stage. Team, please felicitate Mr. Nath. Thank you. I would now request Mr. Nath to stay back for the next panel. Can I have Nivedita Dotto and Shondipan Mukherjee to please come up on stage? Okay, so we'll begin the panel. Yeah. So can we please felicitate Madam Nivedita Dotto? Please come. Come up. Come up, please do the honors. I would now request Shobhoshachi to please begin the panel discussion, and Mr. Shondipan Mukherjee will join in shortly. Group photo. Can we have it later on? Can you finish it, the panel? Shobhoshachi, please. The stage is all yours.
Hello. কম থাক কারণ ছবিগুলো বেটার দেখা যায়। এই শুভদীপ্ত বল না না এত দূর আলো না, আমাদের মুখ দেখতে পাওয়া খুব জরুরি না।
হ্যাঁ, not necessary.
Good afternoon. We are sorry that Shondipan is not yet reached the campus, but we talked to him. He will be reaching soon. Many of the, a major part of the audience has gone for lunch. I believe everybody is hungry. Nivedita Dotto. Nivedita is a very old member of PCI, almost from the inception, and a very good friend of mine too. Nivedita is a fascinating photographer. She has lot of content to show you today. We will talk about light today. Uh, I was quite excited when I saw that Peter was also talking about light. And I had no idea that Peter will be talking about light, and I believe Peter also didn't have any idea. Why light? If you please take your seat first, we can start. Friends who are sitting in the last rows, will you please come in front, that the communication will be better. So now, why particularly I selected the subject light. Nowadays, I have an observation that people talk more about about the technical development, the features of the gears more than photography. I generally observe that people are talking about megapixel. What is your camera's megapixel? What is my camera's megapixel? What is the sensor size? How many shutter you can click within a second in a C mode, I mean the continuous mode, etc. But practically, if you see the practice, nowadays whatever we click, we used to share in the social media. And in the social media, people even don't have time to watch them on laptop. They generally view the images on the phone only, where in the portrait mode, when you are gripping a portrait, a phone in a right mode, talking direction, and you have a landscape photograph, you are getting a 2.5 inches by 1 inch size image. And you cannot understand how brilliant the image is. A blurry image may look sharp, out of focus image may look perfect. If you open the same image on your laptop or even in your TV at home, you will understand the photograph is not at all up to the mark. So what I believe that you should give more attention to the basics of photography first. When we started photography, is the sound bouncing? It's fine, right? When we started photography, we had the camera which had knob for changing ASA, which is nowadays ISO, but we had the films which were fixed with the ASA, right? So today's ISO was not flexible for us that time. A whole roll was with a particular fixed ISO speed, which is ASA that time, and somewhere it was called DIN, DIN. So, and again, we didn't have the scope for auto metering in the earlier models. Later there was metering came in mechanical mode and with LED bulbs and all. LED markers. So light is one fundamental thing which gives visibility to an image, any visual, Without light, even we cannot see with our eyes. It gives touch to dark and make an image. Maybe low key, maybe high key, maybe overexposed, maybe underexposed, but something is created only with the help of light in terms of viewing something through camera lens or by eyes. So I'll talk to Nivedita. Nivedita, tell me one thing. What you feel? What is the, I mean, go further more than me. What is the role of light? How important is light? How you can create your image more interesting with light? Maybe sometimes we use overlight, we use underlight, high key, low key. So I want you will be sharing your ideas in an expanded way. And if you love to show your relevant image to that, you can show your image
Right.
and talk something relevant to that particular image so that they can understand how you handle the light and why.
Right.
Okay. Shubho.
So first of all, good afternoon, everybody. So I'm really happy to be here with you all, sharing my images and my views. Like, I have been clicking for quite some long, and I have gathered some experience, right? So I would be sharing my experience, not the knowledge I gathered from the book. Okay. So here, actually, we are going to talk about light today, and basically, what is light? In photography, the exact definition of photography lies there, right? It's painting with light, right? Photography is all about painting with light, right? So basically, light is the basic need we need to take an image, to create an image, right? So here I'm going to show you, basically there are two types of actually light where we can get the picture in front of you, right? There are, like, one is natural, which is coming from the sunlight. Like natural light photography, we do it in day, and there are artificial lights which we are using while we are creating something where we are not getting those natural lights. Like we are actually getting some artificial lights in the night time, in the street lights and all. Also during the wedding and the event, we are also giving more lights to it. We are actually using some pota or whatever to add some more light to it, right? So there are few things which we can discuss regarding this. And there are actually technicality of light is there, how you place the subject. Okay, so actually I have to move a little bit so that I can see. Okay. And there are also psychological impacts of light. Like when we are viewing an image, we find two things there. One is technically we can see that the placement of subject is there and the light positioning is there, and we are getting an image which is interesting. And again, there is another factor which is also very, very efficient, which is the emotional connect of light. The emotional connect of light to the subject. The subject, its expression, what are we finding there, what are we viewing in that particular rectangular frame is very important. So, next slide please. First of all, I would like to discuss about front or flat light. We all know that when the light is coming in from the front of us, it creates a flat impact on the entire subjects. Here, we also do get dimension, but that is much lesser. Okay, so it's creating an overall visual effect to us on as it is falling to as it is falling on the entire subjects, or maybe there are other surroundings also which are also getting some effect out of it. So let's see with the pictures so that I can explain, right? Here this is a picture in Jantar Mantar, Jaipur. So here what you can see, it's actually a bright daylight. I mean, it's around noon, I suppose. Because, see, when we have come, like, for me also, when I started my photography, I heard from few people, like they are all very experienced people, that the best time for photography is in the early morning or in the evening. And we should avoid anything during the noon, right? Because we get a very hard sunlight. And what a hard light can give you? Can you exactly tell me? Exactly, absolutely. So it gives you shadows, and shadows gives you dimension. So what happens when we click during noon? There are certain disadvantages which will actually spoil the picture. But here actually I use those disadvantages to my advantage. But here the light is actually flat falling on the surface of the entire base. And I am not actually playing with the shadows here, because it's more of, technically speaking, it's more of the subjects and of the positioning of the subjects, which actually I did not put it there. It happened. I kept on clicking. I was actually capturing the birds. I was actually trying to get hold also onto a picture which will be different. And while doing this, I actually got a bird, like it's even in the shape of a bird by the structure, and it feels like it's an eye, right? The bird is the bigger bird shows as if it's the eye of that entire structure, entire sky. So somehow I got this picture, and this is basically a flat light. So next, again it's on a seaside. So it's in the early in the morning, and the light was really soothing, and the colors that come out from the soothing lights are really good, right? So here it was so very colorful, and I couldn't stop myself to take the picture. Not actually showing too much of artistic frame, but it's the casual daily work and the hard work they put into in their daily lives. And even though they are so very colorful, right? And there is also the the geometry, which is also showing, because actually I took this photo like a little bit from below to give it a more this form, actually geometrical, this flow, basically the flow with the like the entire thing. Okay, the next picture. Okay, this is another evening shot, right? It's in the Babu Ghat, and we all know there is this fair happens, and these sadhus do come there during the fair. And while I was taking pictures, like they are not very cooperative, as you must have seen that people are not that much. So anyways, I was actually taking some moments here and there, and when I found him actually bathing, and I took the shot, and it was actually flat light, because I was not trying to put him like in front of the sun. I wanted him to be properly seen. I wanted his face to be properly seen. And that very moment when I was clicking this, he actually behaved like this, and I didn't miss the moment to get the momentum. I actually don't try to miss the moment. I think later, but I shoot first. That's why I get the moment. Because when you start thinking while you're taking the picture, you are definite to miss the frame. So first take the picture, then think. And at the same moment, if you make mistakes, that's good. Everybody does. I did. If you make mistakes, you learn from your mistakes, and nobody can teach you better than that. So let's come to the next image. So this is another one. See, I have taken so many from this place, and I have got so many beautiful pictures, and I was really happy because while I was taking these, I was not like, I was really confused. I didn't know what to do, what to take, because when you see now, when you first actually visit to some place and you are not aware of that place, then there is a certain amount of confusion what you are going to click, right? And the same thing happened to me, and these are I mean particularly these pictures are from my initial days of photography. So definitely I was very, very confused of the placement of elements, of the architecture, how should I keep it. And believe me or not, I actually sat there for like half an hour or so, or maybe 40 minutes, and I waited there for the proper moment, and I clicked some of the moments, Another picture is there, but it is not here because I am talking about light here. So this is what the output is. Okay, next one. Yeah. This is again, there is dimension, right? But again a flat light. Because I am not creating any kind of shadows here, not much of any kind of shadow play, any kind of mystery. It's a very straight shot. It's a very straight shot. Like, there are so many to explain here, though this is something different I am talking about. As Shobhala told me to talk about light, it's all about light here. So there is a long story behind it. If I start talking about stories, it will not end. So the next one. Again on the beach, the hardship, and again the flat light. Nothing much, but the story, and only the story is there. Holding on to the lives, the women of our world, holding on to their family. So now we talk about the very exciting one. That is the backlight and silhouette. So what do we talk about backlights? Let's see. So the very point backlight tells you about the light that is coming from the back, right? The very simple way of saying it. And you can get wonderful, marvelous pictures out of it. Something you would love to even see, even show, even learn from any picture you see, and you love to click it. So I never miss. I always try to make it a point. I give some mystery to my pictures. And here it's a simple image though, but the light and the condition of the entire situation was very beautiful. So I actually put it here to show you all. Next one. Another from the seaside. You can see a lot of pictures from the seas. Okay. This is like during the sunset, as you can see. And there was all these things, and the people were positioned in such a way, and I didn't want them to show their faces, because there are certain images where I don't want them to show their faces. I want to actually convey some communication through my pictures, where actually what happens when you put their faces into light, we all have a tendency to look at their faces. We actually fall apart into the picture, and we fail to understand the real story behind it. So where I feel I don't need their faces, sometimes I just cut them off, which is just not in the rule book, and sometimes I don't show them. And backlight is one of the instrument that I use, rather my opportunity to use this strong story here in my picture. Next one. Another one. Particularly, this is my son. So we were in a family trip, and I found this cloud. And the cloud was so interesting. And because it was setting sun, and his entire face was not showing, I was absolutely thinking, oh no, now I shouldn't miss this, right? I get the cloud, I get my sun, I got a subject, even I got the sun behind the back. What more I can need? So this is how backlight works. Now the next one. Another one from the fair of Purulia. It was a random shot. Sometimes you don't get the time to think. I told you, which is very important. Think later, shoot first. Trust me, it will work. So here when I was passing through, there was a lot of crowd, somebody is playing there. So I suddenly found this spark of the sun. It was almost setting. It was actually about to set in a while. And I waited there for a while, for a moment, and I got this. Not that much of a story, but isn't it brainstorming? Like something, spark coming out of your brain, and you think of something, you got some idea. So story is always there.
So how you got the light in the turban?
That was how it is, this effect of lens.
No, I mean, this is only flare, right?
Right, that's the lens flare only. Okay. Because the sun was setting actually.
I see. And
I got it. I bent myself a little bit, and I held my camera a little bit higher, so that I can get. I didn't know that I'll get that effect. First and foremost.
So that happens many times.
That happens. I get many of my pictures that way. It happened. I didn't took it intentionally. It happened to me. I was lucky.
But let me just give a
Yeah.
short introduction of Shondipan. Shondipan is little late. Shondipan Mukherjee, please take your microphone. Yeah.
Sorry,
No, it's
तो
okay.
jam.
Jam is daily life. So, Shondipan is another very eminent photographer of Kolkata. He walks on street, amazing photographs he used to take. We'll talk to Shondipan after Nivedita is over, right? Because there is a flow. I don't want to stop this flow. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So the next one. Here is another one from Jaipur. I was actually moving around here and I was actually looking for a moment to capture. Not all pictures are there. I actually like to take pictures which are a bit different. Not very obvious pictures which we get to see. Not very beautiful picture which we get to see. So he'll always get a story. The little girl was playing there and I found a person was looking like that. I don't remember exactly whether that was her parent or what. I don't remember, but I found a little story here. Like the girl is playing and somebody, maybe her parent is like picking out to look for her, something like that. It's a small and sweet story. That's all. But here, what I mean to say, it's all about light. So again, coming back to light, backlight works here. Here the backlight is not direct through, but the sunlight which I am getting, like in the background actually. So that's giving me the moment to capture. The next one. Another in the morning, Maidan. So it was a layering, but I kept it here because of the light. Because of the light, I am not getting so much of the horse. And because of the light, we are not looking at the horse. We are looking at the layering. So my interest and my point is that when the light is perfect, you can actually show what you want to show in your picture. Here, if the horse, entire body of the horse can be seen, then the entire effect of the picture would have gone. Because it is taking a lot of space in the frame. So by the logic, when the subject takes more space on the frame, so we tend to look at it more. But here I don't want to. But I used it. I used this subject and used the backlight to create this photo. Yeah. The next one. Seaside again. Fishing, right? The person was sitting like there, actually holding a rope, gathering the net. They were actually fetching from the sea. And what did I find? I found the backlight. The face was not important. The posture was more important. And the most important thing here is the sun. How it is placed on the head. I did not want the sun, the original sun. I wanted the reflection. And that actually does everything for me. Again, the backlight. Again, the light, which is not exactly thrown from the back, but it gives me the frame. Another one from a fair in the evening. I get this picture because of the light that is coming from the back. I have a story to tell, but again, it will take the whole day. So, the next one. Yeah, please. Here also, the posture, the running away, the small things matters. If we keep on actually visualizing the entire figure, maybe the story will be a little bit lesser, which I don't want in my picture. So I want the entire situation to be more strong. And yes, again, this is backlight. Because of that only, I got this picture. Here's a portrait. Very random. Very random. Just like that, I got it. So backlight actually did all for me. Next one. Another one. I got the sun in the exact position, or I did position myself to get this shot. You need to understand where you need to stand, where you need to position yourself to take the shot. Maybe you have to take more than one. Why not? Why not give it a try? Why not practice? Perfection comes only after practice. More of practice, more of output, more of judgment, more you get your shot. Next one. Now I come up, I'm actually talking about shadow play, which is a very interesting one. Actually, I find very interesting. So, likewise, early when I started, what I said, what light gives us? It gives us another one to play with in our picture, that is shadow. So here again, like on the seaside, and the girl and the sticks, like bamboo sticks, and my shadow. It's like three convergence of subjects. Here is also a story. So someday maybe I'll talk about that again. Next one. How interesting can a simple picture can actually put you into how interesting it can be. Even if it is that simple, just to raise your hand, and maybe he is talking to someone. At the fraction of the second I got this shot, and I took it, and I found it interesting because here is here are lights and shadows that's making it a different one. Not the normal one, just to raise your hand and talking to somebody. It's not the normal one. Next one. Another one, shadow. I like to play with the shadows. I got all the footsteps there. I thought, why not? I got the track. I thought that why not put my shadow into there and make it something creative, something interesting. Maybe how many miles did I step? How long did I walk? How much confused I was, and this is my picture. Again, that's from Kumatuli. So yeah, we all did click, right? So it was my starting point too. When I started, I went there. That time back, it was very different. Now it is very different. But then again, I must talk about light. This is shadow, which I got, and it was like the small boy. And it's like the God is talking to him. We all feel like we can talk to God. Can we actually? So that feeling I want to portray. How can I portray? If I get this kind of picture, I can make you understand, right? So, next one. Another one. So, it's from a brick field, and I got the shadow of the tree. I actually overexposed it a little bit to get the condition which I want that boy to come into. He was actually walking, and I froze. This moment I got some other shots of this too, but I want to tell some story. It's a part of a series which I have in my website, so it has its own story. So next one. Creating drama and mystery. Yes, then again the shadow comes here. How can you create the drama and mystery? Because I have actually put it into different points so that you can actually create many kind of pictures just by using shadows. Okay. Here, it's from a village. And how did I not take the entire subject? Why did I not take the entire subject? Because I don't want it in my frame. I only want the shadow as if it is actually taking the goat. I don't want the entire. And then again, there is another goat on the lap, so I did not want to miss that too. It was interesting. It was covering the frame. It was balancing the frame. So I kept it. The next one. Another one with the shadow, and that is also creating drama and mystery. As if, the animal kingdom is a little bit afraid of us. We humans are destroying actually a lot of things. So keeping that in mind, when I saw this I was actually clicking normal pictures, and I found this interesting people around me. There were kids standing behind me, and they were all very curious what am I doing with a big thing in my hand? So actually I was taking pictures. So here when I actually found these shadows falling like this, I positioned myself and properly and I took the picture, and that very moment that dog also gave me the frame I needed, as if the dog is also scared of the shadow of the human. They are scared to understand that what is going on in their life. So the next one, again, it's a flip image, right? Yeah. I flipped it to give it more drama. The boys were playing, I was clicking. They were my pals, they were also clicking. And suddenly I found this portion, the boy is putting his hand out from inside the house, and again I found the shadow. And I found the shadow of other boys. I particularly took one only. That is the reason I avoid the rest. That is the reason it is a vertical frame, not a horizontal one. And I found as if there is a story, yeah. There is also a big story here. It's like our lives, and we are always very we are confused of what to get. We are confused of what to hold on. We are confused of our future. So it's some kind of confusion we want to hold on to, but that's a shadow. So that's the story. Long can be said, but it's not the right time to do so. So next one. Another, but this is a reflection. But this is light actually. How we are creating the drama here? We are creating the drama here with the reflection. It's like we generally laugh by watching the ducks, but here as if they are doing all the fun. They are doing all the fun. They are having all the fun actually. So this is the picture, and there is this story only. It's a simple one. Another one, I use the shadow to create the drama. It's like banging on our head. It's like things that keeps on banging, being a child, being in poverty, being unknown, being we don't know what is there holding our future. So there in a village I was traveling, and I found this lines of shadows, and I found this child there. Honestly, I made this picture. Honestly, I made him stand. I generally don't do that. I generally don't put my subject to stand in front of me, position my subject properly to take the picture. I don't do that. But this time I had to do it. This is me, my hand, and my kitchen sign. And COVID. COVID gave me a lot of hope too. Hope, how? I was actually hopeless. So how can a COVID give me hope? It gave me hope actually, because I started thinking differently. I started acting differently. I started clicking differently. And then when I realized that I can take a picture here at my home only, why not? Using the light and the shadow and creating the drama. So this is the picture. So there is the point. How well can you use the light? How well can you adjust your position and to get a proper picture, and the picture you desire? How do you desire a picture? Because you love to take that picture. Because you feel you are in that picture. That is how you get a picture. Next one. Creating dimension, yes. I have put some pictures here because all pictures that is with light, definitely every pictures had its own dimension, point of dimension. Here also, it's just a portrait, but it's like it's coming out of, from the background. So how can it come out like without dimension? If it is flat, it cannot show this kind of output, right? Next one. Another one, yes. One side light, the light is coming from the other side, more of shadow on the other side. It's giving you a dimension. Dimension, the effect of 3D, the effect of powerful shot rather. If I didn't take it, if I took it just in front of it, going a little bit left to the subject, then might be the impact wouldn't have been the same as it is here. Yeah, This is another shot of light. I've actually waited there also for quite some while to get the reflection. So it is not easy to get the bird in the exact position you want it to be. So here I got it. Again, definitely there is that orange light of the sun setting, and that gives the drama to the entire frame. Another one. While walking down the village, most of the time what happens, initially if you just get into a village, just like that with your camera and take it out and to click pictures, people run away from you. More of kids run away from you until and unless you make friendship with them, right? So here what happened, I was just walking, and when that child saw me, he just ran. And how could I miss it? I took the shot. And yeah, again, see, the light is giving me the dimension. We are looking into it. Our eyes is going from the start to the end because the light is at the end. That gives you the dimension. Another one, here also, we get a light from one side. See, there are many technical ways where I can explain you, but I am explaining you in a very simple way. You all must be knowing a lot of studio lighting and all. There are all too many ways. So here also, the dimension is created because there is a shadow in the background. Another one. If there isn't any light in the back of the subject, like actually there was smoke, so it was more of white. It was also a random shot. He was just passing in front of me, and I found the frame. I found it. Most of the time, I keep on seeing frames. I practice every time. Whenever I look anywhere, I find frames. Even though I cannot capture, I don't have cameras all the time with me, but I do it like that. Next one, artificial light. Yeah. So here I'm going to show very few because you know there are a lot of artificial light pictures which are from events, and I do events also. I do wedding, so I have not kept it here. Start next one. Yeah. So this is a picture from the bulb. I was sitting there and two dogs were like moving here and there. I got the shadow, I got the another one, and here is the picture from the artificial light. You can actually use everything and anything if you feel like. You feel like feeling the frame. Next one. Another one, it's in Varanasi, and some of the boys were playing here. Those who have gone there must be knowing this place. So there was light from the top, and I found very interesting. I took the shot. Here I waited. It was very interesting. Suddenly, when I was walking, I found this, and I waited there for a person to come into the frame. I did not wanted a person, rather I wanted the shadow. Shadow is my favorite part. So this is the image. Another one, Varanasi. Yeah. We always take traditional shots of this place, but I too have loads of them. But this is one. One time I got bored, and I thought, why not try something different? So I took this one. See, here also light is playing a key role. This is an artificial light. This is not a sunlight. Definitely, you can understand that. So one circle is fixed, another one is moving. With a slow shutter, definitely it is done. So it's like telling you a story. We have two circles in our life. One is moving, one is fixed. Which you choose, it's your decision. So that's how I took the picture. Another one. So here there are bulbs, LEDs. So how did I use the eye, where the street light was falling, and the back with the LED, and I use the artificial light actually to make the picture. So thank you. That's all. So I kept it short. Hope you liked it. These are my website and Insta. I have more pictures there if you like it. Thank you.
I'm very sure when we were enjoying the images, many of us, including me, was thinking that, oh, if I was there, I could have this image also. but it's all about imagination. That cannot be copied. Thank you, Nivedita, for sharing your amazing photos.
Thank you, thank you.
You expressed pretty well how you use the light, what was your thought process. Uh, this is something even interesting learning for me. Why you use the shadow only, not the image,
Right.
especially the last one, the kite and the I mean, entering of the person's image.
Right, right.
So even someone need to learn to understand image, not only click the image. That is also a great practice.
I just want to put one point for in front of you. Just the last one I want to put. Whoever is going out to take pictures, first observe. Observe your surrounding. Observe the light from where it is coming. You can position yourself accordingly and you can get a proper picture. So do it once. And even that, when you are at home, observe light when you're watching Netflix. Watch the movies. See the faces, from which side the light is coming, from where we are getting that kind of contour, how that expression is coming out with that kind of light. How are we feeling about that expression? These are things that helps. It does. Thank you.
Thank you, Nivedita. Okay, now we have our new guest. Shantipan, would you sit a little slant, then people can see you better. Take the microphone. Actually, a pen drive tanibi. Actually, incidentally, yesterday I was enjoying Oporajito on my TV. Okay, so there were a number of shots which is replicated, actually copied from the original one, Pather Pachali. So I was watching the movie. I know people started dropping their tears for happiness, sadness. I had tears in my eyes how Mr. Ray actually worked for the film. The shot particularly, have you seen the movie Aparajita? You haven't seen Aparajita? You have, but not many of you. It's a wondrous movie. You just, like, if, okay. Oh, you were in the part of the movie. Where exactly? I see. So he was that Mr. Yes, I see. On the first scene in the home auditorium also. There was Bhadradi and all, many of my known people. Anik Dotto made it remarkable, I must say. Like Pather Pachali is, I'm not the person to talk about that. I don't have the right to. But Anik Dotto's film is equally, not equally, but it's enormously good. The shot Mr. Ray was taking in the pond side, no, the reflection entered. I was thrilled. মানে আমি ঠিক ঠিক বলি আমার গায়ে কাঁটা দিচ্ছিল যে কেউ এভাবেও ভাবতে পারে. So Shantipan, we were talking, we were supposed to talk about light, the influence of light in viewing subject, making images and shooting images, right? So Nivedita has already shown many of her ways how she can create things with light, sometimes directional, sometimes environmental, sometimes artificial, etc. So you have a few of your photographs here, I believe.
Yes, yes.
But do you prefer to talk first and then show the photographs, or parallelly?
I'd rather not, actually. There's much to talk about. Much has been said already. And the fact is, photography literally means painting with light. So the interplay of light and shadow in photography, the importance of that cannot be overestimated, actually. So what's more important to me is what we decide to do with that interplay of light and shadow. And what is most important for me in an image is the element of connection. When we connect with the viewer, there is an emotional connection. That's what works for me. So I have brought a few of my pictures. I knew I would like to begin with a few landscape shots, which are typically with classical lighting. I will start with that. Then I'll move on to show you. I'll try to show you how light, traditional good light, classical light, and also that sort of light which is not considered so good for photography. Maybe during overcast conditions, maybe during inclement weather. That sort of light also, it may work wonders for your pictures if you know what you want to show, and if you have a clear idea of how you want to show. So let's move on. I won't encumber you with a lot of explanation for the image, because I feel the image should explain itself. I do not need to talk about that a lot, but I would just want you to look at those pictures and see how light works. That's all. So this is Dal Lake just after sunset. But there was an image where the sun was also there. It looked more dramatic, but here I waited just for the sundown, because the subtlety of the colors, it is less saturated because it is winter. We should also talk about that. The different time of the day and different times of the year, they make a lot of impact on your photos. Okay, let's move on. We don't have a lot of time. See, this is at Kedartal, and if you notice properly, you will see that there is a star trail and there's also moonlight, because I had an idea when the moon was going to come up just before dawn. So I made this journey, this dangerous journey to the side of the lake. I made that trek myself, and I waited through the night. It was extremely cold, but it was worth the wait, maybe. Let's move on. But I would, as the images progress, I would rather shift on and focus on human element, because that is what works for me. Because I take a lot of pictures of nature, landscape, and everything. But if you ask me what is my favorite subject is man. So this is another example of a classical lighting just before sunrise, and I decided to crop out the sky. Okay, let's move on. This is in Jordan. Actually, let me tell you in very brief. I got the Wanderlust Travel Photo of the Year award in 2013, and that's why my wife and myself, we were invited to Jordan on a 10-day trip as the special guest of the King of Jordan, and it was taken there just before sunrise on Wadi Rum. And the placement and the arrangement of the birds, that's what I waited for there. And the gold, and see how light walks. Same place, before sunset, the light comes from right side, and it does wonders, I suppose. Now, this picture is different from the previous ones, because it was quite a misty morning. And whenever there are mist, the light condition is not so good, visibility is not so good. We think that it is not going to work for my picture, but it may not be so. It may provide you another type of composition. It may provide you with layers and great depth. So every light, every kind of light may be good for your photograph if you know how to use it. Another example, I was chasing the storm, and the sky was cloudy. It was taken in Nubra. It's from my book on Broken Trails. The storm had just passed and creating all those fresh patterns on the sand, and I just chased that storm. Many would have been inclined to go indoors because such a sandstorm was taking place, but these are the moments which may present you with opportunities of photographs which otherwise you may never get. Let's come back to classical lighting. See, before sunset, and there's a black light, and also, but these things, these are all classical lighting photographs. Now I come to morning light. Morning light, because it's more slanted and it's quite bright, it gives you the opportunity to freeze a moment maybe, and it brings out the subject. You see, it's also from my book. The solar cooker, the solar heater, the two siblings. One of them, Akhtar, he had caught a hen. Another boy, he was trying to get their pet cat Rani. His hand is seen from the other side of the cooker. If you may notice, he was trying to get that cat so he could come into the photograph. But I did not wait, because that would have been a plain photograph. But here, the drama has been captured. This is another shot taken in morning. You see the slanted sun rays and the reflected light from the walls, rock walls. It sort of fills in, and this creates the moment. These are all, most of all, these are all candid shots. This is also a morning shot. This was, incidentally, this was my first big break. This was the photo which got me Better Photography award. This was taken in the morning. I decided to leave out the beggar, because the stick, the bowl, and the prosthetic limb, it was enough to show what I was trying to show. But the light, it creates this 3D type of effect. Here also, see, morning light. I chose to leave out the boy and its toy altogether. I just decided to keep the shadow and a part of the bowl which contained puffed rice. Actually, what I wanted to show is that you see a little bit of shadow showing from above, which shows the shelter above the boy's head. It shows the food which he needs and the toy. This is everything which a child needs to become happy in life and contented. It shows everything without showing anything. This is also a shot taken in the morning. It was also an international award-winning photograph. But why I included, I am not particularly satisfied of the light about the light of this photograph. But in these sort of situations, if you wait for the for a perfect shot, and if you wait for the perfect light, when I saw that man and he was carrying his soap in his hand, I tried to run across a small bridge which was there in Kalighat, so that I could move away from him and take that picture from. Otherwise, I had no choice. So in these situations, the subject and the content is more important. Exactly, this is a candid shot, and if you wait for the perfect picture, if I had tried to cross the bridge altogether to get to the other side so that more classical light I could use it, I would have missed the shot. That's why. Now, in this segment, I have kept some photos which were all taken during midday. Midday, apparently, the midday sunlight, it's apparently not very good for photography books would say so, various websites would say so. And it's true to a certain extent, but if the situation is a bit overcast, why it's not considered so good? Because when the sun is up and you have dark shadows under your skies, and the people would normally squint when there is a harsh sunlight. But if the situation is a little bit different, you can make use of that too. It doesn't matter whether this photo is taken during sunrise or sunset. This overcast situation works for it also, because the light is subdued. Another one, this was taken during my trip to Jordan. Because the sun was so harsh, and I reached there because I was on a photo commission. Everything was not in my hand. I wanted to reach there during sunrise, but my itinerary did not allow me to do so. So I reached there during midday, and what I had to capture was the Al Khazna of Petra, which is one of the most photographed subjects in the entire world. So I had to find out a fresh viewpoint. So I just told you that almost all my photographs are candid, but this one is not. Actually, I requested this policeman to stand there so that I might use his goggles to have a reflection of a Petra and give it a fresh look. Another one, see, during while you photograph, people often ask me, how do you manage it? See, what you consider to be an obstruction and a hindrance may work in your favor. This is actually a 100-year-old train which Lawrence of Arabia used during his fight with the Ottomans in the year 1916, and this train has been kept as a heritage open in the desert. But there was a glass door which was locked and barred, and I could not enter. So as I could not go into the carriage, I had to take the photo from outside. So I decided to include the reflection that was there on the glass door, which I used so that to align the windows of the train and the railway track which ran outside. You see, it creates a unique 3D dimension. Actually, the railway track is behind me. It's not in front of me, but this is also taken at midday. So this sort of image, which is not classically good for photography, it may give you unique opportunities. This is also one. I would talk about artificial lighting later, but this is taken in Petra, and it was taken from inside the cave. Still you can see the details inside the cave, though outside the light was very harsh. Now how do I manage that? Let me tell you a secret. I don't always, though the subject is use of natural light in photograph, I don't always use, no, I just used bounce flash. I underexposed the main shot 2 stops, and I overexposed the flash, and I created this effect. It's a single shot. See, this image is also has been taken during midday. So okay. See, this image wouldn't have been possible if I waited for a classical light, morning light or evening light. As you can see, the shadows, they tell us that this has been taken during midday. Let's move on. Now I would like you to pay attention to the next set of images, a little bit of them, a few of them. These all have been taken during daytime, but in shadows. In shadows, during daytime, when you are walking through a small street or a window which is not affected by direct sunlight, this sort of thing, this sort of light can give you a very good scope for portrait photography or bring out the 3D elements of the subject very well. This one also, the girl was standing in front of this is actually a very famous image of mine. One direction light. It was taken during daytime, but in the shadows. See, it was midday, but as it was taken in a small street, direct sunlight was not coming from anywhere. This sort of reflected, subdued, diffused light, it works quite well for portrait images. This is also a candid shot, by the way. Now, for this shot, 2 or 3 images, I would like you to notice the point of view. This was not a classical good light. If I decided to shoot this from eye level, it would not have created this sort of an effect. So what I did, I asked a woman who was standing on the veranda of a 2-story building just beside this. I just asked her, I just approached her and asked her if I could go to that veranda so that I could stand there and take this image. So you have to choose, and you have to so your choice of viewpoint is very important. Next image, please. See, for this also, this shot has been clicked by many, but most people miss the element where the child is inside that large cauldron. Now I took it from a very precarious condition because I was standing by the edge of the pond, and I was just stretching out and taking that picture. But your point of view would work wonders if you just think where you stand and where you take your photos from. This is another award-winning shot of mine. This was taken at Jadavpur railway station. Just my point of view, as I just went over the overbridge and took that sort of shot from there. I just put out all the elements, elements which were not important for my image, what I wanted to show. I left out all that and chose to show this much only. Now, the next 4 or 5 photos, I would show you how you can use the one-directional image, which we often, one-directional light, which we often get indoors. I would not like to explain a lot, but I would just want you to notice how the light works for it. See, this is inside Rabo, the yak tent, the tent made from yak wool, in which the changpas live, and the light come from directly above. And see how it has worked for the image. Now, indoor light may not always be sufficient for what we want to show. Here, this is from my book. I wanted to show the condition and situation of women in Balti society, in which is a very strong patriarchal society, and in the presence of a patriarch, which is on their right side of the frame, you would see that the women of the family, they would they almost become non-entity in the presence of the patriarch. And this is what I wanted to show. That's why the slow shutter speed and the lack of light inside the room, it worked. This is another one. You may call it artificial light. I don't know whether I should call it artificial light, because indoor light is often what we get. I was not putting into any light into the image, but what was there is there. See, gradually I am moving towards those photographs which are quite difficult to take. I have put this here because I wanted to show you how a small top-up flash on the on your camera, it can work wonders, because as you can see, the light was not at all good for this sort of a frame, and whatever one source of light, it was coming from behind, and it was a halogen lamp which is very strong. So in order to pick out the details, I used the pop-up flash on my camera and froze the moment. See here also, it is taken. It was taken during daytime, just after or before sunset, but it was quite dark, and that's why you may also see there are some movement and shake in the image also. But if you look closely, the boy whose face is in focus, you will see that there is catch light on his eyes. Here also I used on camera pop-up flash. This was a very challenging one, because there was this one directional light coming from opposite, and this fellow, we cannot see the bottom of the picture. He had a katora in his hand, and he was a mendicant, and he was pestering me for something. As I was trying to click photographs, he was disturbing me, and I included him in the photograph. Now, in this last segment, 2 or 3 photographs, I would like you, I have chosen a few where you can see that if you choose your frame correctly, and if you choose to include reflectional surfaces in your images, they can add dimensions to your photos. Actually, the boy whose shadow is on the glass, he is standing behind me, and the women are before me. And you may also see the sweets and the women enjoying them. And the boy, he was actually bringing customers into the shop. So I included everything, and everything has been done through the interplay of shadow and light. This is also a street shot. This is also a street shot. The woman was sitting behind me on the window, by the window seat of the bus, and she was looking at the people who were jostling to get in. So what I did, I just pushed the window pane a little bit so that it touched her hands, and the moment it touched her hand, the scene outside was blocked out, leaving only herself and her mirror reflection in the mirror. You can see the seat of the bus. Now this is also a candid shot. It's a shot of my own daughter and my niece. She was sitting in front of me and my niece was playing behind. This was taken at a hotel in Tajpur, and it was taken. Just see the depth which has been added by the inclusion of the reflective surfaces. Actually this is a candid shot, and there is no stitching, no photoshopping, nothing whatsoever. Just my daughter and my niece, one in front of me, one on my in my back, to my back. And this is the last image which I have included here. I would not like to explain it, what it means or how I kept it, but I just would like to show you something. If that fish has jumped out of water, the water would have splashed, and if you look closely, the fins of the fish will show you that the image has been inverted. If that is so, if the image has been inverted, just look at these fish at the bottom of the image. How are they straight? The top half is inverted and the bottom half is straight. It is not photoshopped, it has been direct. So this is what light can do to an image. This was taken indoors. It was taken in a friend's house. Incidentally, I told him that an image may occur everywhere, and he challenged me. So I took this image where I sat, and it was aquarium in his house, and actually this is a shadow, but it's up to you. I will not explain how I took it, but if you the more you look at it, it will confuse you. That's what light can do. It may interpret something, it may explain something, it may expose something, or it may also confuse you, it may also put you into a little bit of mystery. That is the fun of image taking. Enjoy clicking. Thank you so much.
Lot of images are eye-opening for me. I've learned a lot. What about you? You also. That's the success. Shondipan was little late, so you have to run an express train. We're switching to the next episode. Again, I'd like to thank Shondipan, Nivedita, and all of Adamas. You, your VC, Mrityunjoy Chatterjee, and everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your attention. Now we'll be announcing the winners. So now we'll be announcing the winners. So the first prize in the life category goes to Shrestha Karmakar. Can we have you on stage, please? Shrestha. Life category. The first winner of the life category is Shrestha Karmakar. Okay, so the second prize goes to Adrita Bhattacharya. In the life category, the second prize goes to Adrita Bhattacharya. So the third prize in the life category goes to Safayat Hussain. Can we have you on stage? Shafayat? All right. So we have
his materials and certificate which we will courier later.
Okay. So the next category is human expression, and the first winner is Sofian. Another. This. The second prize goes to Indranil Shaha. Indranil Shaha is the second winner in the human expression category. Can we have you on stage, please? The third winner in the human expression category is Debupriya Shom. Debupriya, please come to stage. Debupriya, please come to stage. Well done. Now let's move to the next category, that is man and machines. The first prize goes to Abhijit Kumar De. Abhijit Kumar De, please come to stage. A huge round of applause, please, for him. The second prize goes to Parthu Sharathi Mullik. In man and machine category, the second prize goes to Parthu Sharathi Mullik. The third prize in man and machine category goes to Pranab Bashak. Pranab Bashak, can we have you on stage, please? In the next category, that is jury award. Sir, please come to stage. So the next category is jury award, and the first prize winner is Prabhahar Raj S. We have you on stage, please.
No, he's from outside.
The second prize goes to.
Not second prize. Both are jury awards.
Both are jury awards, so there is no second.
So the next person who has won the jury award is Avik Nayak. Mr. Avik Nayak, please come on stage.
All are from outside. So we'll send all this through courier also.
So big congratulations to all the winners.
Sir,
All the winners. I request all the winners to please come on stage. All the people who have won an award, please come to stage. For a group picture, please come to stage. Please bring your certificates and come to stage for a group photograph.
Please come. All team who has organized this, please come up on stage. All technical team, all team members, everybody, please come up. Sawai Ashut. From Sony, from PCI, let's all take a group photograph. Amaran সকল সব team members, SOMC, all team members, including students, come up. Including students. যারা organizing.
A big thank you to Sony, to PCI, the esteemed guests, to all the students who have participated today, been here. A big congratulations to all the winners. Take care, and thanks to the entire team of SOMC for putting together this huge task. Thanks, MC. So please silently leave the auditorium. Thanks for your contributions. Have a good evening.